Hello and welcome to the Street Crime Australia YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Today we're going to look at a legend who will never be forgotten about in the Australian criminal underworld, Darcy Ezekiel Dugan. Darcy Ezekiel Dugan was born on the 29th of August in 1920 and was an Australian bank robber and New South Wales's most notorious prison escape artist. During his criminal career, he committed numerous armed hold-ups, robbing banks and even a hospital. However, he became more famous for his daring escapes than his initial crimes. On the 4th of March 1946, Mr. Dugan escaped from a prison tram which was transporting him between Darlinghurst Courthouse and Long Bay Jail. As the tram passed the Sydney cricket ground, Mr. Dugan used a kitchen knife to saw a hole through the roof, through which he escaped. The tram is still kept today at Sydney Tramway Museum. On the 16th of December 1949, Mr. Dugan and accomplice Mr. William Cecil Mears both escaped from Central Police Station, Sydney, during a court recess. Mr. Mears was in court after being charged with possession of an unlicensed pistol and have subpoenaed Mr. Dugan as a witness. During an adjournment for lunch, Mr. Dugan and Mr. Mears hacksawed through the iron bar of their cell and escaped from the police complex onto the streets of Sydney. Police gave chase, but these two were last seen as they jumped off into the passing tram. In 1950, Mr. Dugan was sentenced to death along with a co-offender. An appeal against the sentence failed, but Cabinet later commuted the sentences to life in prison. After another prison escape, Mr. Dugan reportedly left behind a note scrawled on the wall of his cell which read, "Gone to the Go Wings." This reference to Sydney department store's advertisement slogan was slang to many things, including "left in haste." Mr. Dugan served a total of 35 years in prison, exactly half of his life. He served his final prison sentence at Long Bay Correctional Sentence and was released on parole in 1984. Mr. Dugan worked as a rehabilitation officer during his final years of freedom, until his health declined. In the 1980s, he became a campaigner for prison reform and exposing corruption, living in a prisoner's halfway house in Glebe. In 1980, Mr. Dugan married Jan Simmons, who he had met in prison while she was researching a book about her brother, Kevin Simmons, famous for being an escapee and fugitive in the late 1950s. Although they separated not long after, they remained friends, and Jan looked after Darcy when his health began to fail upon his release from prison. An autobiography about his life, called Bloodhouse, was published posthumously in 2012. Mr. Dugan died in the Sydney suburb of Glebe from Parkinson's disease on the 22nd of August 1991, buried at Rockwood Catholic Cemetery on the 29th of August 1991, on what would have been his 71st birthday today. What are your opinions on the crimes committed by Mr. Dugan? Even after living as a criminal the majority of his life and spending half of his life in jail, Mr. Dugan was able to come out of jail and spend the rest of his life being a rehabilitation officer and a campaigner for prison reform, and for that he will never be forgotten about in the Australian criminal underworld. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed this content, please don't forget to like and share, and if you're new to the channel and you want to see more Street Crime Australia content, press subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell so you can join us on the next video. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, stay safe.